Ladies and gentlemen, this video is going to be about the average life expectancy of a meth and a heroin user. Okay, so let's start with methamphetamines. Methamphetamines is a powerful addictive substance that affects the central nervous system. It is as addictive as crack cocaine, but is 10 times as strong and 10 times as dangerous. It is called crank, glass, ice, speed, go fast, chalk, and crystal. A poison is any substance that produces a disease condition, tissue injury, or otherwise interrupts natural life processes when in contact with or absorbed into the body. Most poisons taken in sufficient quantities are lethal. A poisonous substance may originate as a mineral, vegetable, or animal. It may assume the form of a solid, liquid, or gas. A poison, dependent on the type, may attack the surface of the body or, more seriously, internal organs or the central nervous system. Meth is a poison. Meth kills either by overdose, suicide, drug-related health problems, or drug-related violence. The average life expectancy for a heavy meth user is 5 to 7 years. Short-term effects may include insomnia, loss of appetite, dilated pupils, excessive talking, excessive sweating, hyperactivity. Long-term effects include malnutrition. Psychiatric disorder include meth-induced psychosis, fatal lung and kidney disorders, violent and/or irrational behavior, immune system deficiency, tooth decay, hair loss. And you know how they age. It's almost like they age like 20 years for every year they're on meth. They look horrible. You see how badly they age, and they already age bad without meth. All right, so now let's get to the heroin addict. What is the life expectancy of a heroin addict? The life expectancy of a heroin addict is obviously greatly reduced compared to someone who doesn't take any drugs. However, the actual life expectancy depends on other drugs the addict is taking, as well as will mix with alcohol, weed, and even cocaine with their heroin addiction. However, most of the hardcore long-term heroin users will die by the time they are in their 40s or 50s. This is because the actual lifespan of a hardcore heroin addict is about 15 to 20 years old, since most of the heroin addiction will start during their 20s or their 30s. It all makes sense. However, there are other factors which contribute to reducing a heroin addict's lifespan in BC, and that's British Columbia. First of all, overdosing can often be fatal. It can happen just by pure bad luck. If a heroin addict gets a batch that is of way higher purity than normal, his normal dose could lead to overdose quickly. Another big factor affecting the heroin addict's lifespan is the environment and setting in which he or she is using heroin. If he is in a very unsanitary environment, the needles will often not be sterilized before each use and increases the rate of infection greatly. Another big problem is that many heroin addicts in British Columbia will die of HIV at a certain point. Some get infected through needle sharing, others get infected through sex, as some will actually use sex acts to fund their addiction. These are all factors that can greatly reduce one's lifespan. So, the more people on drugs, the lower the lifespan. So, 40s to 50 years old is the average heroin addict's life expectancy. And with the meth addict, depending on when they start the meth, usually 5 to 7 years, and they're pretty much done. Now, this is something else I want to show you. Now, I get these occasional trolls, and like I said, ladies and gentlemen, trolls never have any good information. Trolls, every time I go out, and I know when I look up anything they tell me, it's going to always be a bunch of BS. One of the things they also, they all say the same thing. We know low IQ, nigger, and we're stupid and this and that. It's amazing how we're the first human beings on the face of the earth and we're still here, but we're stupid. And they tell a lot of lies, like they've civilized us and all that stuff. There's no way, if they're the last group that showed up on the planet, that they civilized any group here. It's just not possible, y'all. It's just feel good garbage that they like to tell each other. But let's get into black and white life expectancy, because these trolls talk like white people are living 20 to 15 years longer than black people or something. The gap has been closing for many years, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So let me read this. This is an article that came out in the New York Times. And this is what it says. And I'll post the link to this article in the description box. The gap between blacks and whites was 7 years in 1990. 7 years. So white people generally averaged about 7 years longer than blacks. By 2014, the most recent year on record, it has shrunk to 3.4 years. That is nothing. That is nothing. I don't even know why y'all bragging about that. That's nothing. The smallest in history, with life expectancy at 75.6 years for blacks and 79 years for white. Sorry, y'all don't really live that much longer than black people. Once again, it's just you making a fool out of yourself. But ladies and gentlemen, just factor in that the bulk of junkies that are dying in the US and Canada and across all of North America are white people. And there's already been articles out about their life expectancy dropping because of the drug addiction. Like I said before, whenever you research anything that they tell you, you're going to always find they are falling short on what they're telling you. Please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And if you can, go ahead and hit on that notification bell. Peace, family.